live now? I think so, in the right one. I think I joined the wrong one before. Guys, just chat in. Let me know if this is actually working the way that it should be working. Oh, I think it's working. I'm way too tired for this nonsense. Please, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Oh, yay, there I am right there, live in living color. Okay, guys, I am so tired. Like, I have been up since 4 a.m. East Coast time, which is basically like 1 a.m. where I am now in California. So we're doing a short live stream today. This is not gonna be an hour-long live stream, okay? I look like hell. I have been on 3 different flights today. I have washed my hands like 15,000 times. But thank you for coming out and joining me for this little impromptu live stream. So the thing is, the reason I'm doing this is I did a live stream yesterday, and there were way more people in the chat than I was expecting. And so all these people were like sending me super chats and asking me questions, and I missed one, and I think this guy actually sent it twice, and I felt like such a moron. I missed it both times, and he actually asked a really, really, really good question. And so I was like, oh, geez, I got to do another one to answer this guy's question. It was, I think his screen name was Socialism is 4, the number 4. So this is what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna answer his question, and his question was, why do Democrats hate Trump supporters? Okay, and I have lots of different thoughts about this. I don't know that I have a concrete answer for why Democrats hate Trump supporters, but I'm going to give it a shot. But before we get into that, I do have one small update out of yesterday's live stream, and that is that you guys did it. I have to give you a ton of credit. I didn't ask you, I want to make very clear, I didn't ask you guys to hound Tim Pool, but you did it anyway. And yeah, I've made contact with his producer. I am going to go on Tim Pool's show at some point. I have absolutely no idea when that will be, but I will definitely keep you guys updated. I'm really excited. This is probably, like, I don't fangirl a lot about things, but I'm actually pretty excited about this one. Okay, Curious knows who asked that question. You know more than I do, dude. Thank you. So I want to thank everyone who hounded Tim Pool, apparently, to say he had to have me on his show. I think it's going to be fun, and there'll be more on that coming soon. All right, but we're going to get to our question of the hour, which is, why do Democrats hate Trump supporters? Now, the very first thing I want to say is, like, this is not a personal thing. Okay, you really have to frame this in context. Like, when I say Democrats hate, like, when you say, like, Democrats hate us, they don't hate you as a person. They don't know you. This is not a personal thing. And I think that this is really important to keep in mind because, I mean, so many insults get thrown out. They try to get really personal, but this is not about you. This is their own stuff that is going on in their head. Oh, thank you, The Zombie Outbreak, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And guys, just so you know, I never want to pressure anyone into, like, super chatting or you know, donating or anything like that. If you do it, it does actually make the questions much easier to see in the chat, but, you know, no pressure. And if you can't afford to, like, please don't. It'll all be good. So how I've thought about this is there are kind of, like, 2 different groups for me of Democrats. The first group are people kind of like me, who were just, like, lifelong Democrats, and maybe, like, I genuinely thought being a Democrat was the right thing. I really did. And then it kind of became a habit, and then when Donald Trump got elected, it was like a shock to the system. But I wouldn't say that I ever really hated Trump supporters. I've certainly said some awful things. Some awful things have come out of my mouth, and I will absolutely fully own that awful things have come out of my mouth, okay? And actually, to be honest, I have a lot of shame for some of the things that I've said. I definitely owe at least one very specific person a resounding apology next time that I see her. And she's my cousin's mother-in-law. So I probably will see her at some point, but I laid into her really, really badly on Facebook one day. And so I do actually have a lot of shame for things that came out of my mouth. But I didn't, like, when I did that, I didn't hate them as, like, people. It wasn't, so I don't really hate anyone. I think I was more so acting out of frustration and out of a feeling of powerlessness. Like, listen, and I actually talk about this a lot in relation to workplace stuff. A lot of times when you see people acting out and really kind of like being explosive, it doesn't have to do with that they feel powerful. It has to do with the fact that they feel powerless and they are trying to regain any power that they can in the situation. Thank you, Jim, for the super chat. Jim says Trump derangement syndrome exists because the liberal left and Washington, D.C. swamp have lost control of the White House, and now we have a president who's working for America. Jim brings up a very good point about Trump derangement syndrome. I absolutely 100% believe that Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. I had it for a good at least 2 years, probably more like 3 years of my life. Like 2.5. I'm going to be generous with myself and say 2.5. But no, it is a real thing. And this is another thing that you need to understand about this first group that I'm talking about of, Democrats that I don't really think they hate you, but they're just kind of acting out. If they have Trump derangement syndrome, and I genuinely believe that a lot of them do, it really does fundamentally skew the way that you see the world. It skews the way you see every single thing, how you interpret every single thing. And then you kind of have the media around constantly reinforcing that skewed perception. You have your friends around who are probably all have Trump derangement syndrome as well, and they're reinforcing the perception. And it's kind of like, a lot of these people that I'm talking about now, they're just kind of like out living life. They're not fact checking what the news says. I was just texting with my mother earlier today, and I was trying to convince my mother. I was like, we were talking about Joe Biden, and I was like, listen, have you seen some of the things that Joe Biden did? And she's like, no, I haven't really seen that. I only watch MSNBC. And I was like, I had to try to explain to my mother that she's not getting the truth about what is going on because the media is not telling you the truth, right? My mother's kind of living in that place right now, and God bless her. Like, I know that she doesn't follow this stuff like I do, but she doesn't have ill will towards Trump supporters. It really, really is not. That's not what it is. It's more that they're just acting out of this sense of powerlessness, and that Trump derangement syndrome has really skewed the way that they see the world, and that's kind of what it is. That's group number one for me. Group number two are the SJWs. Okay? And here's who I think that Trump supporters tend to hear from. And sorry if the stream keeps buffering, guys. I'm literally I'm on hotel Wi-Fi, so it kind of is what it is. I'm at the mercy of this place. And I'm like out in the middle of nowhere too, so I'm actually happy that this is working as well as it is. So the next group is our thank you, Curist and Bossy Cowgirl. I appreciate the super chats. The group number two, the loudest group, the most profane group, the group who will say absolutely anything, are the SJWs. And this is who I think, I actually think that the SJWs really do hate Trump supporters. I do not think that just the average Democrat hates Trump supporters, but the SJWs, 100%. There is pure, unadulterated hatred in their hearts for Trump supporters. And I think at some point, I think people go down the SJW track. A lot of them start from a good place. I think they start from a place of like wanting to do good in the world, and then they kind of get sucked into this ideology and they lose their heads. But the thing of it, and I also think the other thing with SJWs too is that they're addicted to it. this is not just, they're not trying to do good in the world at this point, I don't think. I think they're actually addicted to rage, and they are addicted to that hate. And this is actually a physical addiction. So this is something I actually talk a lot about in my work as well, is we can actually get physically addicted in our bodies to certain emotions. So, I'm just going to give you guys an example to explain kind of how this works. So, think about a time think about a time when you've woken up from a nightmare. Say you were having a nightmare and you were being chased through the woods by like an axe murderer, and you wake up from this nightmare. What's happening with your body when you wake up from that nightmare? You're probably like shaking, or your body feels really tense, or maybe you're breathing hard, or your heart's beating really fast, or you feel like you just ran a 5K. You didn't run a 5K, you were laying in bed, right? But what happened is that the emotion that was happening in your head made its way into your body. And then you had physical manifestations of that, okay? Now, let's apply this to the SJWs who really do, I think, hate Trump supporters. They've been practicing this hate for 3 years now. They've gotten good at it. Maybe it just started off as like not as severe, but I think it's become very, very severe over time as they continue to just self-reinforce. So they are constantly, every single day, living in this place of hate. And once we get addicted to those emotions, we have to keep feeding them. Because think about what happens. Think about, like, have any of you ever experienced withdrawal from, like, maybe you stop smoking cigarettes, or maybe, like, my biggest thing that I try to give up but it just never works is I stop drinking coffee and I experience physical withdrawals from that. Has anyone, like, experienced physical withdrawals like that from just, like, those types of things? I bet you have, right? When you're experiencing physical withdrawal from, cigarettes or alcohol or coffee or sugar or what have you, your body goes into, like, it craves that thing. It, like, you've experienced physical manifestation because of that withdrawal. It is exactly the same thing with emotions. So let's just say, like, I managed to break out of Trump derangement syndrome, right? But let's just say, for argument's sake, that you had someone that was like, I really don't like this anymore. I don't like arguing with Trump supporters anymore. And they try to step away from, like, their SJW friends. It is a very, very difficult thing to do because they're so addicted to that hatred and that behavior that their body actually does go through physical withdrawal if they try to step away. Like, for me, I mean, I know a lot of you guys think that I red pilled, like, overnight. No, and I don't define red pill as, like, voting for Trump or becoming a Republican. I just define it as, like, waking up. It didn't happen overnight for me. It happened over the course of months. And there was still a lot of back and forth, but I was determined. Most people don't put that type of energy into it. And so they just keep going back and playing into these emotions, and they get pleasure out of yelling at you. They get pleasure of calling you horrible names. These are things that their brain needs because they become addicted to it. So I think that that's partially what it is. And I think the media has constantly reinforced this. I think someone said on Twitter that, talk about, like, why the media hates Trump. The media hates Trump because they're making a lot of money from Trump. Like, the media is making money. That's why. I mean, I don't even know that a lot of them care. I don't think that the media are very principled people. I think they're going to do whatever they need to do in order to be successful, and I basically think that's it. So those are kind of the thoughts that I have, is that you have a first group of Democrats, and I think this is actually the majority of Democrats, where they don't necessarily hate you, but maybe they really dislike Donald Trump. And, if they have a Trump supporter in front of them, or they have a Trump supporter that's a friend, the only power that they can gain in that situation is to, like, tell you off or let you know what they think of you. And that's really what they're doing. That's group number one. And then you have the SJWs that really do hate you and really... guys, like, let me just get to brass tacks here, because I'm tired and I'm ornery and I don't got the patience. They're sick. They're not all there. They're not all there. Actually, you know what? Actually, I think Tim Pool talked about this recently. He talked about a study. Oh God, I'm gonna horribly misquote this, but it was something to the effect of Democrats are much more likely to be suffering from depression. And I think that makes sense. I mean, I've said from the get go, I always thought like conservatives were much happier people. So I mean, maybe that's a part of it. I truly think that some of these people, a lot of these people, the really loud ones, they have issues, and they need to go to therapy. They need to get a coach. I mean, thank God. Like, listen, part of what really helped me, and I'm gonna do a live stream with him at some point. Part of what got me out of this is I have a coach. You look at, like, people say, Carlin, you're a psychologist, like, why couldn't you identify this? Well, the thing of it is like, psychologists can't treat themselves. Like, so many psychologists, and first of all, like, I'm not a clinician either, I'm not a counselor. I do other things, but like, people who are psychologists, counselors, therapists, people like me who do coaching, a lot of us have coaches, or we have therapists, or we have people that we talk to, purely because you cannot practice on yourself. It's too close, it's too personal. And so, I mean, I thank God every day for my coach, because my coach was really one of the people who, reinforced that I was heading in the right direction. And at some point, like, he said to me, listen, okay. I admitted yesterday in the live stream that I'm a little bit woo woo. You guys were going to find that out eventually. I'm very woo woo. And, my coach and I, oh gosh. So about this is a little off topic, but I just think you guys will get a kick out of it. About 2 weeks before I went to the Trump rally, before I wrote my article, I was having a talk with my coach, and we were just pontificating about, like, business stuff. And he said, Carlin, who's your ideal client? Who would you like to work with more than anyone else? And I don't know why I said this. I really, really don't. But I said, I think working for Donald Trump would be pretty cool. I think that would be interesting. This was 2 weeks before I went to the Trump rally, or roundabout a couple weeks before. And so from that point forward, he was kind of like, okay, well, then we need to figure out a way to get you closer to Donald Trump. If you really think that'd be cool, if you really think that's your ideal client, we need to get you there. And one of the assignments my coach actually gave me that helped me get over my Trump derangement syndrome was, he said, you need to become more open to receiving love from Trump supporters. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But ultimately, that's what led to me going to the Trump rally. And hey, listen, it all worked out. So I'm kind of bouncing around. Again, I'm really sorry if I'm not making a lot of sense. I'm very sleep deprived at the moment. I hope this has made sense. But I guess, does anyone have any questions or anything else they want me to talk about while I'm here? I'm kind of cruising through the chat. I'll take a closer look at the chat later. I haven't really been paying attention to it. But I am paying attention now. So if you have a question, like, this is the time to ask it. And I guess I will also ask, kind of while I'm waiting to see if there are any questions, I mean, what do you guys think about my interpretation? Like, some people, someone on Twitter said, Democrats hate Trump supporters because they're narcissists. No, they're not. I mean, narcissists, like real narcissists, they make up about 6% of the population. So that's not something that most people are. Okay, Heidi says, please define woo-woo. Oh, I'm not like a religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. And, I do things like, my coach is an astrologer. We talk about astrology all the time. I meditate. I do like things like, he's also a psychic. Like, we do tarot cards, things like that. I've done ayahuasca on many occasions. I need to go do ayahuasca again. I actually have a church that I can go do it through now that I'm a member of. But like, that sort of spirituality, that's my communing with God right there. So that's what I mean when I say woo woo. It's like, it sounds wacky, but there's a method to my madness, folks. There really is. Okay. Let's see. So I got Heidi's question. Some people say woo woo is BS. I mean, listen, I completely understand why you might think that what I believe is BS, but a lot of you guys believe that, Jesus was born of a virgin, and I don't believe that virgins can have babies. So, there's that. All right. UK Tracy asks, how do we bring both sides together? So listen, you cannot control what the Democrats do. And this is fundamental. So, and this is a question I'm kind of thinking a lot about. I don't have a succinct answer for you right this second, but here's what I do know. You cannot control other people. The only thing that you can control is what you are giving to the situation. So, if you want to be a part of the solution, you've got to fundamentally do what you can do to take steps towards the people that you have disagreements with. Have conversations with them. Try to understand their perspective. I think, oh, thank you, Mitchell, for the super chat. Let me see if you have any questions. Mitchell says, retired military. Thank you for your service, Mitchell. What scares me about Biden? Someone having dementia in charge of our nuclear weapons. I think Biden in general having dementia scares the heck out of me if he's going to be president. So what was I saying? Okay, so if you like want to make things better, you have to contribute your part. Where I would start is, listen guys, do what I did. Go listen to more liberal voices. Just go listen. Try to understand their perspective. Even I guarantee you, it's going to make your skin crawl at first, but you can do this on YouTube in the comfort of your own home. So it's not like, I'm not asking you to go to a Bernie rally. Like, I didn't go to the Trump rally until like 6 months into this little experiment, right? That's like, Bernie rally is like next level. Don't do that. And he probably won't even be in the race that long anyway. But, just listen to these people on YouTube. Just start to get to know their perspectives and just start there. And maybe you'll be able to have some good conversations. All right. Let's see. Oh, Curist? Okay, I'll take a look at the email later. You send it to my Zen workplace address, I hope. If it shows up there, I'll take a look at it. Guys, by the way, my DMs are open on Twitter, and I really do look at the DMs. So if you have something you want to send me, like, Twitter is probably the best place. I'm not going to give out my email address on air, although I'm not, like, that hard to find. Thean asks, do Democrats actually believe Biden is of sound mind? Yes, they do, because this is the conversation I was having with my mother earlier. They believe that Biden is of sound mind because the media is not showing them the things that we see. The media didn't show them Biden yelling at that auto worker. The media isn't showing them Biden forgetting like the Declaration of Independence. They're not showing them these things. So yes, they believe Biden is of sound mind because the media is being very selective in what they're showing. Let's see. Oh, sorry, Victor. I appreciate the effort, though. Guys, I'm just scrolling up through the chat to see if there are any other questions. People are saying things about Asperger's. Are you saying that in relation to Trump or Biden? I'm not quite clear on what you're saying. I think someone asked me who my favorite conservative commentator is. Ben Shapiro. I love Ben Shapiro. I really do. I don't agree with him on everything, but I think he's really funny. And I just enjoy listening to him pontificate, and I love watching his speeches at colleges and just like how much people freak out about it. I mean, that can't be fun for him, but it's entertaining for me. So that would probably be my answer to that. Okay. All right, guys, any other questions? Like I said, I'm going to try to keep this one short just because I'm really tired. And I think I accidentally started 2 live streams just in my fog of exhaustion, so I think a lot of people made their way over here. Oh my god, GOP Jenna! Big super chat. Oh, thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And guys, just so you know, like, I am going to be setting up a subscribe star. I am going to be doing that. I have lost clients in this whole ordeal, and I'm really trying to figure out if I can monetize this stuff in a way that will kind of like make up the difference. And I really hope I can. If you like what I'm doing, I hope you'll consider supporting me. Again, I don't want anyone to feel like they have to, and I certainly don't want people supporting me. If they don't have the resources to do it, or if cash is tight, I totally understand. But I do genuinely appreciate the support, and there'll be more coming soon on that. But because I'm woo woo, I didn't want to launch it during Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde was going up until 2 days ago. If you want, don't ever sign contracts or launch things under Mercury retrograde. Like, P.S. Oh, Blake, just Google Tim Pool. If you like me, you'll like Tim Pool. I like Candace Owens. I like Candace Owens as well. I honestly haven't just watched as much of Candace Owens. No, I'm not like really a Rush fan. Glenn Beck, I like Glenn Beck because Glenn Beck says nice things about me and calls me a profile in courage. But David asks, is my husband a Democrat? My husband is an immigrant. He can't vote, and so he's not anything right this second. He will become a citizen at some point, though. But my husband is actually like a little bit more conservative than me, and so like I don't think that he would be a Democrat and especially not now. Like, they're insane, guys. They're insane. They're insane. Oh, P.S. So I wanted to mention this, like, if in case like there are people that are interested in like the knitting stuff. Like, this is also the insanity of the Democratic Party. So you guys know how in my original article I talked about this guy in the knitting community who was bullied so badly that he had a nervous breakdown and went into the hospital on suicide watch. So he's better now. He's actually doing really, really well. He just returned to teaching. His name's Sockmatician on Instagram if you want to know more about him. But there's an update to this whole story. There's an update, okay? So the update is that the person that was like the ringleader of the hundreds of SJWs that went after him, she just pled guilty to fraud and is now in jail. So justice, there is a God. Justice was served. It wasn't in relation to the knitting stuff, but, like, can you imagine, like, people who join the Democratic Party and they bend the knee to these people who are just obvious whack jobs? This woman was defrauding families who were buying trips to Disneyland. She was taking their money and then never setting up the trip. And so she now went to jail, and I'm very happy about that. All right. Yeah, I'll look into that, curious. Like, so I need to really work on my setup with this whole thing, and the God's on, and my husband is actually on me about it. My husband is much more into this stuff than I am. But the truth is I just really haven't had time. But I'm gonna be upping my game. It's coming. Someone asked me what my opinion of Dr. Jordan Peterson is. I'm a big fan, and I hope he's doing better. Have you been able to speak rationally with anyone on the left since you changed your views? I wouldn't say not with people on the left, no. I have a few like more moderate friends that like kind of like center left people that they're kind of like, Carlin, I don't really get what you're doing, but I kind of respect that you're reaching across the aisle. Like they haven't ghosted me, but no, I have not spoken to really any of my ultra liberal former friends. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up just because I need to go to bed. I've got a big day tomorrow. CA gave me a super chat. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I have to answer this one. Not CA, that's the Canadian. Okay, best DJ AF. Okay. Why hate Trump? Why Asians are all engineers? Okay. And our uni is mostly women oppressed by STEM, outsourced jobs, and Women's March will... Okay. Find out who benefits and follow the money. Sure. I don't know what the question is there, dude, but I appreciate the super chat. Okay. Yeah, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to try to get into a regular cadence with the live streams. I do have to travel again next week, so my next live stream is probably going to be on Wednesday. of next week, I will be sharing more when I have that locked down on Twitter. So make sure you're following me on Twitter at Dr. Carlin B. And I announce it on Instagram as well, but Twitter is usually probably the best place. So thank you all for coming out to chat with me tonight. I hope I made some sort of sense. And now I'm going to go crash in bed and meditate and then fall asleep. But catch up with you guys on Twitter.